Integrating AI. Oh my God, it can be such a game changer when it comes to productivity, your creativity, and it can save you time and money so that I can get an idea of where everybody is at with AI. And I don't just mean ChatGPT, I mean like using any kind of AI. Could you let me know in the chat what you've been playing around with, what you feel comfortable with? Are you completely new to this? Just so that I can alter what I'm going to say so that it meets everybody's requirements. And if you've never looked at any kind of AI tools, I'd love for you to just let me know that. Okay, chat, basically, yeah, a lot of people have tried ChatGPT and went in there and they're like, what the heck? I don't even know what you're supposed to be doing here. And then they leave. So the statistics are that people have played around with this stuff, but they've not necessarily kept it up because they're like, I don't know what to do with this. So you may fall into that camp. You might be somebody that's like, I love this. Or you might be like, I've never used it before. Create outlines for trainings. That's perfect. I am Heather Zeitzwolfe. I love using technology and integrating it wherever I can in my business. I like to think of myself as an early adopter in most cases, and maybe you guys are as well. So here's my promise to you. You can become a bionic boop, boop, boop version of yourself using the knowledge that we're going to talk about today. I said bionic because I don't know anyone saying bionic, but I grew up with the $6 million man. So to me, being a bionic woman or bionic man is super cool. Terminology. So you've heard of AI, that's artificial intelligence. It's like that movie with Steven Spielberg. Remember, with the little skinny kid, he played the robot. You guys remember that movie? Anybody remember that movie? That was a while ago. I'm dating myself. There's this thing called generative AI. I'm going to look at my other screen so I get the all. So really, it's or Gen AI. It's artificial intelligence capable of generating text, images, or other media using generative models. So we just need to give this thing some what they call prompts, and then it will create what we want. It's a robot, right? So it's not going to like be perfect. We have to be as clear as human beings as possible to get what we want out of it. So if you've tried ChatGPT or any of these things and you've put stuff in, you're like, this is crap. Maybe what you put in was crap. But we're here to learn to make it better. Let's address the robotic elephant in the room. I was looking for an elephant that was a robot, so I quickly created this in Canva. You can do things on the fly. This was a very short prompt. That's why it's a very simple image, but you can make images in Canva, and we're going to learn about that. The myth. You've probably heard all kinds of things. AI is total plagiarism. It can be. AI can give you crappy results, which I just addressed. It's difficult to use. It hallucinates. You may have heard that. It can, which means it gives you answers that it's just grasping at straws from the internet and like making something, and it's not true. It takes longer than writing. I've heard people that are copywriters say like, oh, it takes longer. Humans are more creative. AI responses they lack humanity. They're easy to spot, and that Google penalizes you for AI generated content. In some cases, these things are true. In other cases, they're not true. AI is getting so good that even Google can't really identify it if you're using your own human voice. I want to be very clear that I want to use these tools as ethically as possible. So what I'm going to be talking about today is using your own creativity to generate this stuff. Maybe you have a fear of AI. If you have a fear of something around AI, can you put it in the chat? Because there's a lot of fears going around about this. Now, I'm not talking about the ethical ramifications quite yet of AI, because there certainly are those, but fear could be like, it's difficult to use. It just seems like a shiny object. I love shiny objects. I love my bling, but yes, we can go down a rabbit hole with this stuff if we're not careful. People think it's going to make our mind mush, that we're not using our brains. Everything will sound the same. Robots are going to take over the earth. We've all seen Terminator, right? The fear of the unknown, and it's going to kill jobs. It could kill jobs, but it could also open up more new jobs. It seems like a shiny object, afraid it might be, maybe make your job irrelevant. David, I think that it is actually going to enhance your job. A global takeover. Yeah, concerned about impact on the economy, jobs lost. These are all valid. But you know what? I remember when CDs replaced records. I worked in a record store and it was called the tape deck. And the name tape deck was because we sold tape decks, and then records became really popular after 8 tracks and tapes, and then came in CDs, and we're like, what the heck are these things? And then CDs took over. We all bought CDs, but then what happened? CDs are no more. Now it's all streaming. We never know what's going to happen with technologies. Things change all the time, and new things pop up where there may be jobs before there are new jobs. My mom, back in the day, she was a switchboard operator. We don't have those anymore. Now we have cell phones. So it's like things just change. Back in school, I went to school in the 70s. All of our homework assignments were done on mimeograph. Do you remember those? It had that smell. You'd smell the ink, and it was like that purple, you're like hot off the press. It was actually warm to the touch. And then we had Xerox machines, copy machines. I remember working in an office where we got a color copier. It was such a big deal. And it was this enormous machine that took up like most of the room, and you had to be so careful. And it was like, oh my God, the ink was so expensive. Now people hardly print anything at all. Things have changed. Rotary phones, do you remember that? Is anybody too young on the? I think everybody here is probably old enough to remember a rotary phone. And if you screwed it up, you'd have to like start over. Oh my God, I hated that. Oh my God. We've had changes. It's nothing new. When we have business disruption, we either adapt or we go under. We've got people here that help with copy, coaching, video, all kinds of different jobs here and businesses. And yeah, part of your business could be jeopardized. I know in the accounting world, there are all kinds of talk of replacement, but we all are humans as well. I think to keep that humanity there, there's always going to be an element of humans until the robot take over. But just to think about disruption, so there was Blockbuster. Remember, we used to go to Blockbuster, and then Netflix came along. They also sent things in the mail, but they were one step beyond in remembering or coming up with the idea of streaming. Yes, they did the old way with the DVDs, but then they took a step further. And then new businesses come. Amazon. Oh my God, Jeff Bezos took the concept of a bookstore and brought it online and went from a bookstore to now like this global thing where he delivers anything to your door. I got this charger from Amazon. Oh yeah, the stapler came from Amazon. Everything, right? Everything under the kitchen sink, including the kitchen sink, you can get from Amazon now. I want you to think outside the box and not feel like this is going to kill your business, because you can always take your business in a different direction. But knowing about AI is so important, because we don't want to keep our head in the sand, because we want to utilize this stuff as we grow. Also, when one thing dies, the rotary phone, for instance, a new thing comes about, the Apple phone. This actually made more businesses come about. So we've got people that make those rings that go on the back, the case covers, the earbud things, selfie sticks, ring lights. I mean, think about all the things that came out of this one invention that now opened up more business possibilities. I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, well, let's just throw in the towel, my business is going to fail. Always think about how you can take your business to the next level. We are talking about the ethical concerns now of AI. I would love for you guys to put in the chat, what are some of your concerns about AI? I know this is a big deal, and it is very scary, the ethical concerns, because we think about kids in school now. They can just like plagiarize a report. They don't have to think. They don't have to research. They don't, it's like all these things. There could be unwanted bias in what we make from AI. Surveillance and privacy issues. Oh my God, drones. The thought of like drones flying around and shooting people. And I mean, it really is like a huge ethical concern. I mean, I don't mean that lightly at all. And then there's like this ambiguity of an intelligent being. Did you guys see that movie She? I think it was called She, with Joaquin Phoenix, where he falls in love with with an AI girlfriend. Oh God, what's her name?
I think it's Her, right?
Thank you. It's Her, not She. Her, yes. The really attractive woman. What's her name? Anyway, she plays the voice of it. It'll come to me. He falls in love with this AI being. It's not a sex toy. It's, we're not talking about that. It was just a voice. Scarlett Johansson. Thank you. I knew it started with an S. intelligent being, I want to just give you an example. In ChatGPT, if you've not already played with it, it will say things like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't quite understand what you meant. Thank you," or "Please." And then I start saying, like, "Oh, please, can you give me this or that?" I'm talking to it because you talk to it like it's a human. And then it gives you these responses that sound, if you're talking to it like a human, it will give you responses like a human. And I got to tell you, one time when it gave me a response that I didn't quite like, I actually felt bad asking it to do it again because what it told me was like, I actually had empathy for like, oh, they didn't quite get it. I feel bad asking them to rewrite it. And I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. This is AI. This is not a human. We have to remember, like, okay, this is not a real human being. But then it comes into question is if it is intelligent, is it? I mean, we think about animals as being intelligent, humans as being intelligent. So there's like this, like, it could get weird. That's what I'm saying. I'm worried if people are truly being authentically themselves. Yeah. The fact that they can take an actor and put them in a movie without them even doing anything, have their voice, it looks like them, all the ethical ramifications of what it could be in like the political world of what people said. We can't believe what we see in images. It is very, very scary. But I'm not here to turn you off on this stuff. The last one I want to address is that technology is moving faster than laws. These are all my ethical issues that I have with it. If you Google these things, I'm sure other things come up, but these are the things that I think about. But I was talking to a lawyer at Podcast Movement about AI and the things that you get generate from AI. And really, right now, you don't own those things. Keep that in mind. That's why I like to use my own things. Then at least it's generating things that I've already created, and then it's creating something from my own creation. If you design certain images, certain things, there's a gray area as far as copyright and all that kind of stuff. Just be aware of that being in the world where most, I think a lot of us on the call are content creators. So we do have to think about intellectual property. Long story short, if you can't beat them, and we're not going to be able to, we might as well join them. So let's go on this adventure together. You might be thinking, oh, AI. Okay, well, I tried ChatGPT. I can't get on there. I don't want to pay money for it. It's like a pain in the butt. It's always, you can never get in there. There are a lot of AI tools that are actually low cost to no cost besides ChatGPT. That is one of the options, but there's so many more. I'm a huge fan of the software Notion. They have an AI tool in there. A lot of software companies now are putting in a component, whether it connects with ChatGPT or some other kind of AI chatbot. You might even see like you go into a piece of software and suddenly something pops up. Like I was in Squarespace, I use it for my website, and suddenly like a thing just pops up. Now they've got integrated AI. So you're going to see this everywhere. The sooner you start like playing around with this, the sooner you can start actually utilizing it. Some other ones, Grammarly, that's a popular one. I personally use that. I love that tool. Jasper AI, I've not used it. Bard, you may have heard of that one. That's like Google's answer to ChatGPT. I started playing around with that a little bit, and I found that I had to change some settings. So I will show you how to do that if you've run into that issue as well. And then Bing Chat. I'm an Apple user. Bing is not something that I utilize because it's more of a PC kind of application, but it's a browser. You can actually still use Bing on a Mac, and I played around with it last night, and they do have an integrated with Dolly, which is an image creator. I did create this image in Canva. I used very simple things. I said I wanted a black cat that was a robot. And so very quickly, I got this image. Images are something that sometimes we need to create if we are doing some content, and we don't want to steal things off the internet because that's stealing. There's copyright issues and all of that. And again, I said, oh, copyright issues with things that you create in AI. I think right now this is kind of going to be the Wild West. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not saying anything about that, but I think that the images that you do use from AI, you can probably safely use. Just know that you probably don't own them. I don't know if anybody owns them. And it'll be interesting to see all the laws that come out around this. But some tools that you can play around with. Canva, I think somebody already said something like they use Canva. Who uses Canva? Just put it in the chat. If you've used Canva, there's a free version of Canva. but they also now have an AI tool within Canva that you can use. And if you've not played around with it, this is something I quickly created in Canva. I said I wanted a psychedelic background, surrealist, headphones on a cat. Use very simple prompts and to create this. It looks kind of like my cat, so I use this one. MidJourney. Who here has used MidJourney? Put it in the chat if you've used MidJourney. MidJourney is one of those that you have to use through Discord. Thank you, Discord. Yeah, so if you are a video gamer, you're probably interested in Discord. Wasn't playing around with in Discord. It was a little bit of a learning curve for me, but I have played around with MidJourney. There was like a free version. I don't think that exists anymore, but I think it's about 20 bucks a month. So it's very affordable if you're using it all the time. And I'm going to be showing you later some bananas type things that people are making in MidJourney. And if you are a creator, an artist, MidJourney is probably going to be the best tool of all of these to use at this point. Dolly, you can use that through ChatGPT. So I have the paid version. I don't know. I think it's for the free version. It's an image. So you type in a prompt and then it creates an image. So you can also do it through Bing. So you have to log in to Bing and then there's this image thing. Then there's Adobe Express. I'm an Adobe user. So if you have the Adobe suite, there's a lot of tools in the Adobe suite. That's kind of expensive. So that's why I didn't put that in here. But now Adobe has integrated AI into I think almost all of their programs. But Adobe Express, it's kind of like the Canva of Adobe. They've got a great tool that has gotten better. At first, it was terrible. In our incubator one day, we were playing around with it and we put in like camper, fire. We put in some different things and we wanted a woman in a camper van that was going camping with her dog and she had a campfire. And it put a camper van with a fire on top with a dog on top of the fire. Not what we wanted, but it has gotten better. And remove BG it removed the background of anything. So that's pretty cool. So if you are using a free version of Canva, that does not allow for a removal of the background. So you can use this tool and remove BG to remove the background. Low-cost AI tools for marketing. I use MailChimp. So I was like, oh, I don't want to use the MailChimp logo. Let me just create something really quick in Adobe Express. And so I came up with this image very quickly. I think it's pretty darn cute. Took 2 seconds. I put in a chimp that's wearing a mail carrier outfit, holding a banana. There he was. Very cute. Marketing. There's a lot more marketing tools, but I wanted to keep this as simple as possible. Hootsuite, Buffer. I have not used either of those tools. Has anybody here used either of those tools? Email marketing campaigns tools like MailerLite, MailChimp have now integrated AI in there as well. I hope you can join my workshop. Could you guys hear that? Okay, I'm going to play it one more time because I think it's so funny. I keep laughing at it. I didn't put it out on the internet because it was kind of ridiculous, but I made this in Adobe Express for this workshop. I hope you can join my workshop. Okay, so you can make animation now using AI tools. If you are not an animator, you can use these tools to create pretty cute things. They've got backgrounds, they've got characters that you can use. I have not played around with this too much, but this took a couple seconds and you can record yourself and do all that. Tools that I have used, video Descript. They do have a free version. It's also used as a podcasting tool, so you can edit and create video. But one of the wonderful things about that is that you can edit using just the text. It brings in the transcript from the video, and then you can just edit that way, which is Adobe Express, CapCut. Who here has used CapCut? CapCut you can use for video. There's an app on your phone. You can use it on your computer. It's free to use and you can do all kinds of amazing things with CapCut. There's video.ai, which I have not explored yet. Pictory AI. So if you guys are looking for things, you might want to take a screenshot of this. And then Capwing, I have not used that one. I believe that's for captions. There's lots of tools out there. I mean, too many that I have not had a chance to play around with. Who here has played around with most of these? Just put in the chat if you've played around with any of these. Put the ones in the chat that you like. If you don't like one, put it in the chat. Then there's transcripting and podcasting. I made this image in MidJourney. I wanted to have cats podcasting. Obviously, I like cats with headphones. CapShow is one that a lot of people love, where it'll show your captions right away. You load in your video, it does the captions. Descript, as I mentioned. Otter AI, a lot of people are using Otter AI. You may have also noticed people on Zoom where it's like they load in an Otter AI thing and it's doing a transcript for them from the Zoom meeting. Reduct Video, that's another one. Speak AI, and then Cast Magic is one that is gaining a lot of popularity with podcasters. Any podcasters here, let me know which AI tools that you like to use.
I've used Descript just because I've had a account with them for a while, and you can do like a lot of different things with it. And their new video editor seems really easy to use. I just haven't dug into it and learned how to use it, but like they have like the transcripts, the video editing and everything. So I just use it because it's easy. Everything's in one place.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. AI. So if you think like, oh, it just spits out a bunch of garbage, all you can make are cats with headphones pretending to podcasting. Well, guess what, people? You can do these amazing things. These are some people on Instagram that I follow that do AI created art. I can't tell you how much of this was manipulated after they use AI tools, but I'm guessing this stuff was probably created maybe in MidJourney. I know some of this was MidJourney because I follow people that create a MidJourney. Obviously, you can do amazing things if you know how to prompt it. As artists, a lot of us may be like, crap, okay, you can do all that. I used to paint. Now what? Well, you need to know what to put in there. You need to be creative with your words and know what the right words are to prompt AI to create these things. You need to know examples for it to look at and maybe find images or take images and create them. My husband works in e-learning and he's always having to find stock photography that matches what they need. He can go down a rabbit hole of trying to find the right image because maybe they want to have more ethnical diversity in the images, or they want to have a certain scene or something like that, and they're not able to find that. Now you can create things using AI. The clearer our prompts, the better. That's where I think people get really frustrated with it, is that they haven't utilized prompts in the right way. And the more you do it, the better you get. And with prompts, you can search prompts online and find like a bajillion prompts. But I find that for myself personally, if I want things to turn out the way that I want them to be, I need to develop my own prompts. If you look at other people's prompts as like a sort of like a springboard of how to kind of get started, go ahead and do that. But I encourage you to dig within yourself so that your own creativity can come out. Ready? We are going to create something. For those that don't know enough about this yet for us to kind of dig in, I do want to go over a couple of things. The better the input, the better the output. The more information you give it, the clearer the information, the better your response you're going to get from it, whether it's an image, whether it's text. And when I say text, it could be a blog post, it could be a social post, it could be an outline, a checklist. It could write you a book. It could do, there's so many endless possibilities. I'm going to show you a little bit about plugins that you can use in AI too that will help you with prompts. Think of this as a human assistant. So when you're putting in your prompts, think about it like if you hire a virtual assistant or an actual assistant, or act like they're your employee and talk to them in a way that you would explain something to someone else that doesn't know how to do something, or maybe they do have a background. You can give them a persona. So you can say like, pretend that you are a copywriter, or you are a copywriter with 30 years experience and you blah, blah, blah. So you can explain who they are supposed to be. Then you're going to give them the skill set that they need. You can say like, you have this background, blah, blah, blah. And the more plugins that you use, probably this will be even easier because you can reference different URLs. You can reference a YouTube video. One of the things I tried was pretend you are Mike Michalowicz. He is a guy that wrote several books, including Profit First. And he has a thing called the Pumpkin Plan. I love that book. And I wanted an easy outline from the Pumpkin Plan. So what I did was I used a plugin from ChatGPT 4, and I had it reference. It was one that could reference a YouTube video, gave it the address, and it referenced that video and all the contents of it. And it gave me a whole bunch of information, whatever I asked it. Can you do an outline for me? Can you tell me like the 5 big takeaways, the this or that? And it did it from that video. That was just me looking at somebody else's stuff, but just think about all the content that you probably already have online, they're like, oh yeah, I did that video once, or I did that live with so and so. That would really make a blog post. I was on this podcast. So you can reference all these things for it to pull in and then organize that information. So we don't have to work from just like nothing. We can use things that already exist that we have created. By and large, we are content creators. So we have a lot of stuff out there, and repurposing is one of the greatest ways to use ChatGPT or any of these, in my opinion. Be as clear as possible. You want to have as much detail as possible. Think about like if you had an assistant, you told them to work on something, they might do something, come and bring it back to you, and you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. You didn't specify exactly what you wanted. They had to fill in the blanks, right? So ChatGPT is going to fill in the blanks if you don't give them what you want. Be as detailed as you can. If you can, give them references. If I wanted to write a blog post and I wanted to reference, you could reference a book, or if you're doing if you're an artist, if you're creating something in MidJourney, you could say like, I want to look at Andy Warhol for these particular years, or give it some kind of reference point. Also, give examples. You've created something before and you want it in your voice. So if you've created show notes, for instance, for a podcast, and you want it to create show notes in that same format that you've done before, then you provide it. Say, I'd like you to, make the show notes for this particular new show, and I want you to create it in the same format as these. And I've done in the past. And then you can tell it the stuff that you want it to also repeat. I've used ChatGPT in conjunction with Google Trends, yes, to find out what topics are trending at specific times of years. Yes, I love that. Suggest ideas, provide context. The clearer that your messaging is, the better it's the result. If you've not used ChatGPT 4, it's $20 a month, at least the plan I'm on. I don't know if it has gone up. I've heard someone say 27, so I don't know if that was the case. It's got chats, prompts, plugins, and then a custom instructions, which I'm going to show you in a second. But I need a volunteer that we are going to do a live demo, and I want to use somebody's content that we can pull if you're okay with that. And we're going to create things like blog posts, social media posts. I'm going to bring up ChatGPT. Has anybody here not seen ChatGPT 3.5 before? Okay. Who here has not seen ChatGPT 4 in full use? Oh, okay. This is ChatGPT 4. So ChatGPT 3, you may have heard, is based on 21 and before 2021. If we ask it certain things, it could give us some old information. We want new information, right? We want to be able to base things off of what's going on in the real world now. If you pay the $20, you can explore these different things. Once you load in ChatGPT 4, it allows you to have plugins. And I'm going to show you that in a second, but I do want to go over the fact that this bar down here is where you put in your prompts. So this is the chat area. You can put in your prompts. You can stack prompts. In here, you can see I was working on various different things. Each one of these chats, these new chats that you open up, it will remember all the things within that one chat. If you've told it to have a certain voice, be a copywriter, do this or that, you're talking about maybe like one piece of content that you want to expand on and do a lot of different things from, you keep it in this one chat and it remembers all the things in there. And you can tell it to reference back to the blog post that I did or this or that. So keep in mind that all of these things that I've done over here all have different ChatGPT like personalities linked to them. But there is a way to keep the same sort of personality in ChatGPT on all of your things so that you don't have to tell it again, like, I'm a podcaster, I have these types of show notes, this or that. What you can do is here, you can see there's these three little buttons. You click on those three little buttons. There's a thing called custom instructions. You click on that and it opens up this window where you can put in some prompts for it that it can remember all the time. This way you don't have to keep typing it in. You can say like where you're based, what kind of work you do. It depends on what exactly you want ChatGPT to do for you. And then you say, how you want it to respond. You want it to be formal, casual, how long you want the responses, how you want to be addressed. You could have ChatGPT call you a goddess or something. I don't know what you do. What kind of opinions, or do you want them to remain neutral? All these different things that maybe you feel like you're repeating in your prompts all the time, you can put them here. If you don't want it in a certain chat that you open, you just toggle it back and say, don't enable. Just keep that in mind. If you do enable it, it's going to be doing it on all of them. Has anybody here used this tool? Kelly, have you used it?
I said yes. I saw you do.
I did a video
something.
about it. Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. And so I went in and I did it.
Awesome. And has it helped you, or do you feel like you need to refine it a little bit better?
I just did it.
Okay.
I'm not really sure yet. I think I still could go in and be more specific with things.
Think about things that you feel like you keep typing in over and over again, or a particular voice that you want to have. You can even tell it to, once you've created, you can go a bit further with this and dive down a chat with ChatGPT using some of the plugins and have it help you develop what you're going to put in here by referencing other things. Yes, Elaine.
Hey, Heather, I've done it where I just give it more prompts in the bottom chat thingy. Do you have to have the paid version in order to go over to the left thing that you did?
That is a good question. If somebody has ChatGPT and they don't pay for it, if you
It works.
it does work. Okay.
It works with 3.5.
Oh, it does. Okay, thank you.
So you went over to the left side, and what did you?
There's these three little buttons.
Custom instructions.
And then custom instructions. Yep.
Custom instructions. Okay, thank you.
ChatGPT 4 has amazing plugins that you can access by going to this little box here. You go to plugins. I have not paid for any plugins yet. It's called a plugin store, but you can access it here. So you go all the way down to plugin store. There are new things popping up all the time. If you've loaded some plugins to help you with various things, go back and check. If you're like, God, I wish it would do this, there might be a new plugin for that. For instance, I work a lot in Excel. In the beginning, when I was using ChatGPT, I had to ask it to put things in like a table. Well, now it actually integrates with a CSV, which is like an Excel type of integration, and it will output an actual Excel file, CSV file for me that I can use, and it will have the calculations and everything in there. It's super cool. So some of the things that you can do in here, like this one, is browse up. Browse dozens of web pages with one query. You can put in URLs. You can ask it to look over the internet. There's one for diagrams. I wanted to do some flow charts, and it helps me take what my outline was and put it into a flow chart. It's not the prettiest flow chart, but at least it got it done. And it does allow you to go to another page where you can download that flow chart. Some of the stuff is with the plugins, it works within ChatGPT, but also it might link to another page where you can access that. I have had issues where it was only accessible for a certain amount of time, and then once I went it, I couldn't get back to that actual page. So if you are going to download something, just be careful. I don't know why that happened. It went away. If you wanted to reference PDFs, there's so many things. So you can go here to new and see all new things happening, but go through here. These are popular ones. You can go through, there's all these pages. You can go to the next page. Expedia, if you want to plan a trip, you can plan a trip through it. It's amazing, all the different things that you can do. Utilize things for podcasts. There's a copywriter one, so it has more of a voice like a copywriter. You can do slides. It can help you create slides. This is the one for browsing YouTube. The possibilities really are endless, and we're just getting started with this. Once you really start to dive into the plugins, this is to me like where the super magic is in using ChatGPT. Sean, since you've played around with this, what are some of your favorite plugins?
There are some plugins that give you direct access to the internet. I also like the Scholar one because I do a lot of research with it. I don't know if it's a plugin or what it is, but it used to be called Code Interpreter. And it reads code and then it writes code for you if you ask it a certain question.
Yeah. If you have a website or you're doing coding and you need some sort of code, it can help you with that. All these different things. Here's the thing though, right now with ChatGPT is you can only have 3 active at one time. And So in that chat, you're going to be stuck with those three. So you'll have to start a new chat if you want to use different. Just be aware of that. Think ahead, like what is it that you want to get out of this particular chat? Each one of these are chats that I have that are on the side here. Think about what it is that you want. For instance, I have one that is California law. Oh, here it is, California law. Always keep in mind that you do want to proof everything that comes out of this. Even if it is based on your own stuff, you want to make sure. If you're having it reference like your name on the internet, there could be, a bunch of people with your same name. So it may not know who to reference. So make sure that you're actually using something attached to you, like a website or your YouTube or something like that. We are going to play around with this. We're going to choose, we'll use the internet, we'll use a copywriter, and then there's so many things in here. It's really crazy. Podcast search. Oh, tool explores oh, there's the law. Vox script. Okay, this will use a YouTube video. Oh, it says I got to get rid of some of these. All right, hold on a second. Poll the people. This is a good one if you want to do market research. Social search. That one's going to search the internet. Kelly Fox, you said you wanted to be the person that we're going to work with. Do you have a YouTube video or something that we can reference?
Yes.
Just put the URL in the chat.
Okay.
It needs to be the exact URL of the video. So Lynn says, I'm a ghostwriter. I always check content people give me for their books. And yeah, in case they have used AI or copied information from the internet. Yeah, I Grammarly, and there's a tool within that where you can see if something is plagiarized. Kelly, in the meantime, while you're getting that link, we're going to start our chat. ChatGPT, you are a copywriter with 30 years experience. I want to create content that uses SEO terms. This is generic. Please use my YouTube video as a reference for all the content I want to create in this chat. That's kind of generic, but for time, we'll just use that. So now I'm going to use Kelly's video. Oh, I love that you say please. I know it. See, that's the human part of it that I'm like, oh, it's like a human. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the YouTube video. First, I'd like you to make an outline of the video. Okay, so, and I didn't ask it if it understood or anything because for time's sake, but I would definitely, if I was doing this normally, I would think more about like how I'd want this to be. So we're just kind of asking it more generically. Based on the video, Fearless Generation's 12 Steps to Freedom, Step 10, Trust Introduction. Okay, so we've got, give us the introduction, the discussion, guess. Kelly, does this look fairly right?
That is super tiny writing. It looks like it's good.
Based on the video, I'd like to create a social media post to promote the video. Please, oh, I used please again. Please use emojis. Let's see, SEO keywords. Certainly, here's your social media post. Okay, so new video alert, blah, blah, blah. No, maybe we don't want to tell people that we have a new video. It's like, hey, everybody, we got a new video. So maybe that's not how we want to do the post. Instead, well, let's adjust this. Kelly, if you were going to post about a video, how would you normally post about your videos online?
Well, we have a graphic that we share that shows our guest coach, and we usually have some kind of blurb about whatever the topic is. And then we have a little bit of a bio about the guest speaker. And then we just started posting post-event and reminding people the podcast is up and they can go listen to it.
Those are the types of things that we would put in here to generate that. I don't have it in front of me, but what I would do is take one of your social posts that you have and use that as a reference, because obviously ChatGPT didn't understand what we wanted because we didn't tell it what we wanted. I would take what you've created before in the past, because it follows a very succinct format. Give that as an example. So say, ChatGPT, please use this as the example of how I want the social post to be formatted and the contents to be the same, but based on this video. And then you can reference back to the video, and then it will give that to you. Always give it examples if you want it to have something that's very much like in your brand or the style that you've already created. Then Once it does that, you can actually ask it to maybe zhuzh it up. I don't know how you tell ChatGPT, but you'd have to like come up with some word that would be like zhuzhing it. Maybe make it more SEO friendly or make it take you to the next level so that maybe your social posts go viral. Ask it to put it in a format that will change it to make it go viral or something. Then afterwards, you can take your ending post that you do afterwards and then have it reference that and do that as well. For sake of time, I'm going to stop sharing that. And I'm going to share, if you are interested in trying out Bard, there's a little tricky thing in here where you have to go into your Google console and select apps. And then if you go into here in this app window, there's a thing that says early access apps. You have to check that box for it to work. Bobby, have you done that?
Yes, you will have to wait. There will be a delay on that setting taking.
Oh, really? I was able to instantly do it.
It probably varies for
Yeah,
folks, but you may have to wait.
It did say that it could take a while. What did we learn today? Well, hopefully you learned that AI can save you some time, that you can use AI as an extension of yourselves. Again, it's playing around with it, but feeding it your information. That is like the key thing, is like giving it things that you've created as an example. And then how cool is this that we can create magic from our words? The better our words, the better the results.